we were supposed to be in grad school to gain the knowledge to change the world and make it a better place. And I felt that graduate school, as far as I had experienced it, wasn't providing that. And so for about a year or so I quit, and I wanted to instead open up a dojo for women. So I don't know if you know what a dojo is, but it's a martial arts training center for women. And that's what I wanted to do also as a feminist. So I took some time off, and I did that for about a year and a half, just full-time training. But then I also saw how difficult that would be financially to have a stable income. So I decided at the time that I would go back to school and do that on the side. So, but definitely there are always a lot of obstacles along the way. You know, each person, sometimes it takes a little while to find out what the right path is, or, you know, sometimes you have to take detours. But I think that that's all part of, you know, the process.
Okay. I actually want to be a professor. So do you have any advice for me?
Definitely. I would encourage you to definitely plan early and plan ahead, and especially from the time that you enter college, you have to really, you know, watch out for, you know, for good professors that will support you, and be careful to keep your GPA high, because it's really tough to get into graduate school these days. So you have to really, you know, pay attention to your grades, and develop, I would say, personal relationships with professors that you admire, so that they could kind of guide you in terms of how to navigate the institution. Because once you take that big jump from high school to college or university, it's a big jump to end up at a place with, you know, 20,000 students. So unless you make those kind of personal connections, it's hard for you to take the next step to go to graduate school without, you know, a really strong letter of recommendation from a few professors. So I would say definitely invest in those, in building those relationships, and, you know, ask smart questions during class and during office hours, and that's how, you know, professors will recognize your determination to take it to the next level.
Okay. Even though, like, I don't know what I want to do so far, do you have any advice for me?
Yeah, well, what are your passions?
Like, I think I want to be a pediatrician.
Yes, okay.
But I don't know.
No, that sounds like a great idea. So definitely in that case, and you'll probably go along the, you know, pre-med track.
Yeah.
And it is really, you know, competitive, but in the medical field these days there are a lot of different, you know, options in terms of all these kind of supplementary careers that you can have around, you know, doctors, like you can be, you know, a doctor's aide, or you can, you know, there's so many specializations you can go toward in medicine. So I would, you know, if you know of any doctors, you might want to ask them how they chose their career and how they, you know, pursued their studies, so that you have a better idea as to what would be required to go into that field.
Okay. Selena, do you have questions?
What challenges or obstacles did you face to get to where you are today?
I think that you know, still, you know, as a woman and as a woman of color, the academy is very white male dominated, and so in that sense, I really felt out of place when I first started my PhD, and even when I thought about getting a job in the university, because there are not that many women of color still. We're still the minority. So in that sense, I think that you do have to realize that even as you get a place and a foothold in an institution that historically hasn't been yours, that once you're there, you shouldn't just go along to get along, that you should just change the place that you go, so that you're just not a token person of color. So that would be like how I overcame the kind of obstacle and turned it into like a challenge to, you know, change the culture of a place that you go, because we all have that power to do that, especially if you find a few like-minded people, you can really make a huge difference.
Awesome. Okay. How did you pick your dream school, or like what was it, and did you get in?
Yeah, I actually was fortunate enough to go to, I think, an ideal school for me for graduate training, and that actually had to do with the fact that my mentor as an undergrad had a lot of friends at that school who selected me because in that grad program they only select 3 students a year out of a large pool. So his letter of recommendation went a long way, and I worked with him very closely. So like I said, if you can find someone to mentor you as an undergrad who can then help you take that next step, that's really crucial. And that was, I would think, the biggest I think key to getting into that school that I wanted to be honest, because so many students come out with stellar GPAs, great GRE scores, but then it's oftentimes those personal connections that can really make the difference and open doors.
Awesome. Okay, you guys have any questions? Think we're good? All right, thank you.
You're very welcome, Reagan. I wish you all the best, and feel free to come and